Sup, Nerdmigos? I'm the Jive Talking Nerd, John Norgrove. We've got Wife here. We're here for another review Jive. And this time we're talking about The House That Jack Built, which came out in 2018. 2018?
Yeah.
Really?
It's been out for a while.
Wow. That's not a while.
I mean, yeah.
Like, we were just talking about 2063.
I mean, that was like 3 years ago in movie times in America nowadays. That's like a long time.
I guess that's fair. Whatever. So we watched The House That Jack Built. We watched this on Hulu, actually. So it's available there. No sponsor. That's where we watched it, and I figured you might want to watch it also. Which I think you should. Quickie, spoiler-free review. This movie's a lot, and if you're not, like, this is like Hostel and Saw and 8mm had a baby.
Yeah.
So if you're not ready for that, don't watch this movie. Like, I like this movie. You did not like this movie.
I did not like this
She did not like this movie at all. Mm-hmm. I like this movie. Yeah.
I think that those are the only two positions you can have on this movie, where you're just like, this movie was a waste of space and I don't know why anybody likes this director, or you liked it.
Yeah, well, if you get into the director. So this was Lars von Trier, and firstly, let's start with, and this is all still spoiler free. We have never seen another Lars von Trier movie. I do not have an opinion on Lars von Trier. In fact, after we watched this movie, like immediately after we watched this movie, we watched a couple of reviews from some of the reviewers that we follow, and a lot of them got into the whole Lars von Trier movie issues.
Universe.
Yeah, it's not really a
universe.
cinematic universe, and it's not controversy by any means, but he's like a very auteur, like art house horror movie, like kind of up his own ass, kind of a person, I guess. And so some people have had beef with that. We've never seen any. We actually want to see another one of his movies just to like see what everybody's on about. But
also because Willem Dafoe is in it.
Yeah, but we're not actually basing this on Lars von Trier. Literally, until we watched a review that mentioned him, we did not know. So
yeah,
this is 100% just us talking about this movie.
Although we did watch this movie because of a review that we watched.
Yes.
From Amanda the Jedi.
Yeah, we saw an Amanda where she like hinted at this or talked about it briefly, like real brief, just talked about it, and we're like, that sounds interesting. Save, and then we watched it like 6 months later. We're super bad at this.
We have a lot of things.
We have so many things to watch, dude. If you've noticed, this has been like several where we're in the same uniform.
We basically have to just like binge movies.
Yeah, we binge on the
day
weekend, and then that's what we do. We binge movies on the weekend, and then during the week when we get off work, we shoot reviews and stuff, and I edit. So yeah, it's like having two jobs, except for one of them doesn't pay so good,
but is ultimately rewarding and satisfying.
I was just gonna leave it at one of them doesn't pay so good, so you don't know which one I'm talking about, but it's definitely this. This is the one that doesn't pay so good. Because this one doesn't pay. I mean, we have a Patreon, so it kind of pays. Support us on Patreon. Subscribe to this channel, like this video, comment below if you've seen this movie.
It pays in karma.
It pays in karma, yeah. Well, it's friends. So we're all just friends here. So let's go on an adventure and get into spoilers with The House That Jack Built, dear friends. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to like hyper speedball the plot. This is basically a movie about a crazy man who hears voices in his head, and he tells us about 5 incidences where he murdered somebody. But we learn later on that he murdered like 60 some
Well,
odd
that's
people.
what he said, but
There were a bunch of corpses in that fucking freezer,
you
dog.
see a bunch of corpses.
He killed at least 60 people. I think it might be more.
Yeah.
This guy's like a definite murderer.
Yeah,
but he
definitely
is
a serial killer.
way up his own ass psychotic, right? And so the first murder, I'm just gonna go over the murders. So the first murder is that Uma Thurman is kind of like a fucking bitch, and then he murders her. And then the second murder is he convinces this lady to go into his house, fails at choking her out 3 times, and stabs her. So the second murder is that he convinces this lady to go into her house and fails a couple of times at strangling her, and then like stabs her in the heart or some nonsense. And then almost gets caught by the cops and then doesn't. And then the third murder is that he is dating a chick and then murders her, and then by this point in time he takes pictures of the dead people or whatever,
and
it's like
one to the
it's
local
like artsy
newspaper.
or whatever. Well, no, but before he submits this one, right? So he murders this lady, he takes a picture, puts her in his van, drives to the freezer that he owns or whatever. But then he ends up driving her back because he didn't think the picture, once he developed it, was good enough. Remember when you developed pictures, guys, old times? Also, this movie takes place in, how do we pinpoint this?
Like 1979 to 1980. It was based on...
a spaceship launch?
Something like
They
that.
mentioned, like in the news, they mentioned like a launch, or they mentioned like a world event. Was it? No, it wasn't Diana. What was it? Dang, I don't remember. They mentioned an event, and I'm like, because the whole movie we're like, what time period is it? And I'm just like, pause. This is the year it took place. Now we know. So because it wasn't clear in the beginning.
It was not clear.
Right? Or it was made clear and we weren't paying attention. I don't know. This movie's fucking weird. But on his way back to try to take a photo of her, he sees like an old lady on the road, and so he hits her with his car because he was just inspired to do it, or fucking some stupid artsy thing like that. And so he like poses with both of them and then sends that in to the newspapers, and he becomes Mr.
Sophisticated.
Mr. Sophistication. Mr. Sophistication. Yeah, Mr. Sophistication. And then that's the third incident, and then the fourth incident is where he kills like a mom and her two
you
kids.
have it backwards. He did the mom and the kids, and then he did.
No. The fifth one is the second girlfriend. Because remember, he's kissing that girl in the third one.
Oh.
For just a second, they're like making out a little bit, and then he's like or something.
Yeah,
I don't remember how he killed her. It doesn't matter. Honestly, a lot of the like finer details are more about watching the way it's presented in the movie than like actually what happens in the movie. But so he kills like a mom and her two kids or whatever on like a hunting thing or something. And then the fifth one is where he's like dating this girl who is either completely normal, a meth head, or an alcoholic or something. There's something up with her. I mean, I don't feel like they go into it very much, but he's kind of like toying with her, and it's like super sadistic and crazy and whatever.
Yeah.
And then he ends up murdering her or whatever, and he murders her by cutting her boobies off, and he keeps one as a coin purse, which is just so disturbing. Jesus. And he like uses it in public too. It's whatever. This is a fucking weird, dumb movie. In that regard. And then the other one he like puts on a police window or something. And so I guess she's dead. From that, like that's the thing that confirms that she's dead for us on that. And then the end of the movie is like he's capturing people alive and lining their heads up like like the rings on the ends of axes, so that way Theseus?
I think it's Theseus.
I think it's Theseus. We think it's Theseus. So he can like shoot like 7 dudes with 1 bullet, like in the head or whatever, because that's art to him or some bullshit. It's basically like I don't think it's Theseus, but it might be Theseus. It's like the Theseus thing where like all the suitors are trying to get the queen, and so she lines up the axe head so all the rings line up, and then she's like, "This is my late husband's bow. It's like 80 million tons to draw this bow, so you have to be like super strong. Whoever can draw this bow and shoot it through all of these rings gets to become the new king of whatever the fuck, Athens or something." And then like the son returns and it's just like, "I can do it because I'm my dad's kid. Haha, I win." You know that movie where she has like sex with the ocean because it's supposed to be Poseidon. You know what movie I'm talking about.
I don't.
Yeah, that's fine. It's not a great movie, whatever. I watched it like school, and then like obviously in like real life several times I've seen that movie. It's a very common movie. If you're into watching those kind of Greek mythology movies. If you know which story I'm talking about specifically, please comment below, because whatever, we don't know which one it is off the top of our heads.
And we could have looked it up.
But we didn't.
We didn't.
Yeah, we didn't. No. But so while he's doing this, like the cops get him or whatever, they like find out where he is because he sold his fucking squad car. And so like he's trying to like free himself, and there's been like a locked door in his meat locker, and he's like, "I don't know where this goes." So he finally breaks that door open because he needs more room for his gun or some stupid shit like that. And the guy that he's been talking to in his head this whole time, Virgil, like of Dante's Inferno fame. Is fame the right? Infamy? Whatever.
Well, Virgil was a philosopher.
Well, yeah, I mean, but like in Dante's Inferno, he's the one that narrates.
Yes.
So
in Dante's Inferno,
I don't know if that's fame or infamy.
Virgil
that's the
doesn't
thing that I'm
narrate.
talking about.
In Dante's Inferno, Virgil is the guy who goes with you as the dear reader through the circles of hell.
And he goes with this guy.
He's basically Virgil is basically like the heaven and hell and purgatory tour guide.
Yeah, he's the narrator, sort of.
Not really.
Like a khaki narrator.
No, I'm not gonna give that.
He's got a lot of opinions about stuff. He is in this movie. Let me tell you what. He's definitely like, hey, buddy, do you think this is a good idea? And the guy's like in his head, the guy's just like, yeah, what are you talking about? Like, I'm the best. Everything loves me. Whatever. So whatever. He finds Virgil, and they decide to build a house out of all the frozen corpses that he has because that's the material he's needed to build this whole time. Oh yeah, there's a B plot where he's trying to build a house and fails every time. And then
out of different materials.
Yes, and then they go down into the rings of hell, and then Virgil's like, all right, well, like, this isn't the place for you, but like, you know, whatever. And he's like, no, I think I can make it across and go back up and not be in hell. And so he tries that shit, and that doesn't work, obviously, and he falls into the lowest pits of hell because this fucking bastard deserves it.
Yeah. Although technically the innermost ring of hell is not for people that would be his caliber, but yes.
Yeah.
Because the innermost ring of hell is for betrayals.
He betrayed definitely several girlfriends.
He did.
Yeah.
So
and he betrayed his friend.
Oh, he did. So maybe he does.
Two friends. Well, one friend that he definitely killed. The second one he just like threatened and scared the ever living daylights out of.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like he definitely deserves to be in that ring of hell. Whatever. Fuck that guy. So yeah. So this movie is like super fucking artsy, right?
Yeah.
Like over the top artsy. Like
so
it makes
artsy.
it slow in its artsiness, but I don't actually think the artsiness takes away from the film.
It does. He's wrong.
I think that the artsiness of the film is a crutch for honestly just like better writing.
That's fair.
I don't think that it takes away from it. I think that it's just a huge crutch where they're like, what if we're artsy about it? I know a lot of people talk about like, what does the ending mean? And blah, 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 and all this kind of stuff. So I'm going to explain what I think the ending means. And then we're just going to go into best and worst bits of this movie. Unless you have a different opinion about how the ending means. It looks like you just...
I mean, like, I have an opinion.
The ending means you don't have to watch it anymore.
That's nice. That's what I got out of it. That was my best bit.
So, to me, when he's in the freezer and the cops are shooting and he dies, and the whole journey to hell at the very end is basically like his mind justifying his death. I do think he actually builds a house out of bodies. I think that the weird suspended corpse house is real. I think he does
too. I think that the movie is just him talking to Virgil as they go through the circles of hell. And it's just sort of chopped up in time. I think that's that's what's happening.
I think Virgil represents like not being a crazy psycho murderer, and it is like, because in this whole movie Virgil's like he'll be like telling a story, right? Because he like the main character. Okay, first of all, this movie isn't confusing. The main character narrates everything that's happening.
There's so much exposition.
There's so much fucking exposition.
He talks about all of
the movie is, in my opinion, incredibly straightforward insofar as this guy's nuts. Some remnant of sanity in his mind has taken the character of Virgil and is trying to call him on his shit. Because like multiple times he's like, like Virgil's like all the stories that you're telling me are the women are like less intelligent than you. And he's like, no, that's not what's happening here. That's not what I'm doing. I'm just choosing 5 stories at random. And like at one point in time, like he fucking forgets and drags a corpse literally from the murder house all the way to his like freezer locker. Yeah. And he's
then there's like a rain.
But then there's like a freak rainstorm, and he's like it was divine providence. At which point I think both Julie and I were just like, okay, with that shit, buddy. But like it's Virgil really to me plays the like what is, and it like shows us where reality does and doesn't like begin and end. And I think it's because I think what we see in this movie is what Jack is seeing, and that is not real. Like, yes, Uma Thurman was like a weirdly like rude, kind of crazy bitch. But it's like, I don't think that she was that character. I think that that's what Jack saw her as. And I think that in reality, she was just like a lady broke down on the side of the road asking for help. And, like, he's just so nuts that, like, he somehow weirdly justifies his murders by altering his perception of reality into, like, two things. One, some people are just assholes. And then two, it's art. And the it's art part comes in the second half and is arguably more dumb. Because it gets, like the scene where he arranges the mom and the two kids with the, like, 40 crows in the, like, redwood bramble parts. I'm like, why? But more than why, how did he take that picture? Did he bring a crane? What, like, there are parts of this movie that are artsy that literally do nothing but art. For no fucking reason. And to me, the movie could have had, like, an hour cut out of it. And would have been a much more concise horror story.
To me, the movie could have had, like, all of it cut out of it. I could have just, like, literally done without this movie. So that's my opinion on the, like, interpretation of this movie, is that it's just all his facsimiles of reality, and he dies at the end, and the whole hell sequence is, like, the dying thoughts of a madman. Why didn't you like this movie? Since I talked about, like, since you didn't like this movie, why didn't you like it? First of all, it was unbearably artsy.
It was pretty artsy.
I am not a huge fan of, like, art house TM type movies. I do not enjoy that. There was a time when teenage goth Julie was really, really into, what's the guy who did Lost Highway?
I have no fucking clue.
And all of those movies.
Yeah. I don't like artsy movies. That's not... Dude, I'm a fucking...
There was a time where I was really into those movies and, like, The City of Lost Children. And then as I got older, I was just like, art house movies are awful. They're so terrible.
I think
they're just like some director just, like, jacking off at you for, like, 2 hours about how arty their movie is and how hard it is to understand, how you really have to, like, appreciate the nuances of the movie. It's garbage. I would rather watch a movie from Michael Bay than watch an art house movie.
So, okay.
Period. End of story.
I'm not going to defend art house movies. Hold on. Let's get into this art house movie thing. I'm not going to defend art house movies. I don't like art house movies. That's not at all what I'm saying. I have no problem with them intrinsically. If it's a good movie and it's artsy, fine. If it's not a good movie and it's artsy, it's not a good movie. To me, the artsiness has nothing to do with the quality of a movie. I think that it's often a crutch used to justify some other poor aspect of the movie, or like you said, it's
movie.
Just a fucking wank because the director thinks he's like, I'm so, like, whoa, or whatever the fuck.
That.
But I would argue that Michael Bay and the guy who did Bats and Soups,
Zack Snyder.
I would argue that they are equivalently up their own asses in an artsy way.
That's fair,
but it's not art house TM like what you're talking about. You're talking about the art house TM art house.
I do not like the art house TM.
You know how I feel about Michael Bay movies.
I do not like it, Sam. I am. I would much rather watch literally all of the Transformers movies in a row than watch this ever again.
I don't need either.
I also did not enjoy the murder sequences and the way that he premeditated them. I generally don't really like super realistic horror that's... I don't like horror like the movie The Strangers, like break-in horror, or 8mm. Yeah. I generally don't like those because they're too close to reality for me. And being a woman, being a short woman as well, we are easy.
That's true, she's super short.
We are, That's
how tall I am, guys. I sit down for these reviews. She has to stand. I have to sit. We bought a special stool and everything.
Easily taken, and I just. It's hard for me to watch those because I think that could easily be me. But also, I do not like movies where there is violence done onto animals, and there is a scene in this where there is a violence done onto a tiny little baby animal.
Oh yeah, that's it.
When that happened, I was like, done.
This is what I'm gonna say.
I am done with this.
100% of the flashback scenes to when he was a kid are unnecessary. They're like, oh, it shows that the character had a traumatic childhood. That sounds like you justifying this guy being a murderer. He's just a piece of shit. I fucking hated all of those flashback scenes, and it wasn't until the fucking animal harm scene where I was just like, well, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I didn't need to see that. I don't need that shit. All of those flashback scenes were fucking trash. Absolute trash.
I did not like that.
I totally agree with that.
I did not like that. I do not like that in films, although I do love horror movies.
Yeah.
And there are some horror movies that are a bit more realistic that I still enjoy. Like Hostel is kind of like a fairly realistic gore porn movie. But for me,
that one with the deaf lady when she's trapped in a house.
you know what? I'm kind of okay with that one. I'm okay with that one.
That was a good ass movie too.
There's something about The Hills Have Eyes and
The Hills Has Eyes
and 8mm
believable,
and
but the
The
opening scene is
Strangers
just unacceptable.
that I do not like. It's too realistic, and I do not deal with it very well. So I just like basically am just like, okay, well, I'm done watching this movie now.
Yeah.
So it was just like the whole time I felt very disgusted about this movie and like uncomfortable.
There is not
an R scene.
There's not an R scene. Yeah, that's what we're gonna call it. There's not an R scene in this movie, regardless of the fact that the examples you gave, I think, all have R scenes in them.
Probably.
Or most of them at least. This does not have that. But I mean, there's also like, it's real messed up. This movie does not hide the murders by any means. It doesn't cut away. It doesn't do any of that kind of stuff. I mean, really, the only thing that's hiding the gruesomeness of this movie is its like dumb artsiness.
Well, and there's
like
also
flashbacks to try to justify it for fuck all.
Yeah, there's also no levity in this movie whatsoever. It's just
it really isn't. There is no levity.
Boring slog. Like this movie is like, have you ever driven 2 hours in like a rainstorm? Not like a really bad storm, just like a gloomy rainstorm where you can't see very well. That's literally what this movie would be like, only driving through the rainstorm would be better.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I don't know. I don't have a problem with the like realistic
the ending
horror
where
movies.
he's going around with Virgil made it a little bit better because I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like I've read Dante's Inferno, like I'm into that.
Yeah.
I like that kind of like symbolism and tying it together.
Really,
with, like,
that whole last incident where he kidnaps that soldier man and like ties him to the thing and and this is the first time we see a bunch of bodies in the freezer and he has other people alive in there, and he's like trying to get he's gonna kill these guys, and then the army guy is like, sir, that's not a Full Metal Jacket, you were lied to, and then he like freaks out and like yells at a bunch of people and steals a cop car and like ends up dying and then goes to hell and whatever. Like that whole final sequence was arguably the best part of the movie. Insofar, it was also the least artsy part, and they were going through the different rings of hell. That was less artsy. So, take that for what it's worth. I mean, to me, that was the best part of the movie. Was definitely the ending. I don't really have an issue with the like reality of it. Although to me, the movie was very surreal. It felt very like French surrealism. Yeah. Just because like this guy literally got away with everything. He was untouchable in like a psychotic way. Right, and he had not PTSD. He had
OCD.
OCD, thank you. He had OCD, and they like did a great treatment of how OCD would affect his life, but it didn't make the character more. It just gave the character a box, and that to me that's like the main character isn't that good.
No, and they didn't really even flesh him out very well.
And they didn't flesh him out very well.
He's got like 2 bullet points. He's like serial killer.
I mean, honestly, for me, and when we first got done watching this,
fan of Dante's Inferno.
And Julie was like, "This movie's awful. I don't like this movie." I was like, for me, it was like, for me, this movie was a lot more like watching a Saw movie. Right? It was just like sort of like dumb murder sequences connected by barely a plot. But, but also, I didn't know that it was some big bloody art house thing going into it, at all.
Yeah.
I don't think we had any clue what we were getting into when we started this.
You know what?
And we watched the fucking trailer, too.
When we watched the review and you were like super into it, I was like, I don't know about this movie. And then we watched the trailer and I was like, ooh, I don't know about this.
Yeah.
And then when we started watching the movie, I was like, this isn't this isn't the movie that I wanted to watch.
Yeah. Oh, this is like that bloody Keanu Reeves movie we watched that you didn't like. It's sort of like slow, drolly. Except for the Keanu Reeves one was character driven and fantastic. In this movie, the characters are like flat as shit.
Neither movie was great. Neither
movie
like
slow
was
movies.
great. No, it's not that. I just did not like that movie, and I do not like this movie. I do like Green Eggs and Ham.
She does not. Don't listen to her lines.
Sam, I am.
She is not. Her name is Julie. So.
That's true. I'm
all lies, guys. It's all lies all day. But all lies all day aside, this was the house that Jack built. I fucking. Whatever, dude, watch it or not. I'm not gonna recommend you watch it. If you're not like the kind of person who's okay with watching this sort of movie, you're not gonna have a good experience. Don't watch it, right? Like, I don't have a problem with watching this. I don't have a problem with 8mm. I don't have a problem with those other movies. First of all, 50% of the movies you named aren't good movies to begin
Doesn't
with.
matter.
Right? So, for me, it's like it's a good movie or a bad movie. The, like, reality or surreality or art housiness, regardless of the TM or not, are sort of negligible. Insofar as there have been a lot of not great art housey movies, but obviously. But no, you know what? I enjoyed the movie for what it was, but I'm never gonna watch it again. There's no need to rewatch it. So I'm not gonna rewatch this movie. I'm not gonna watch it again. I'm not gonna recommend this to people unless, like, you think, from what I've said, and go watch the trailer. I'll have it linked below anyway. Like, if you think that you would be into this movie, like, go ahead and watch it. You know, you may have a good time. If you're a Lars von Trier fan, I guess watch this. I don't even know, man. Like, the 3 videos that we watched on this didn't talk particularly highly about it.
And we looked at his filmography, and we haven't seen anything else.
There was one other movie in his filmography that was, like, kind of worth watching.
Well, there's 2.
And that's mostly because of the...
There was a Medea one, and then also one with...
No, I mean movies that we want to watch.
I mean,
not movies. He's made more than just a few movies. Like, he's made a bunch of movies. I just don't care to watch any of them. They don't look particularly interesting to me, really except for the one with Willem Dafoe, and that's singularly because Willem Dafoe is the best.
Yeah.
I mean, that's literally it. The trailer was kind of like, whatever, but Willem Dafoe's in it, so that looks like it's gonna be tight. But this guy clearly makes artsy movies, and so you gotta be, like, into artsy and into realism, I guess. And into, like, whatever the fuck the plot of this fucking movie is. Dude,
garbage.
It's such a weird movie.
Is
such
garbage.
A weird movie. As you can tell, Wife is a big no 410 buddy on this one. I'm gonna say if you can handle it, go right ahead. And if it's not your cup of tea, like, don't even fucking give it a try, man. Fuck it. Go,
yeah.
Leave it for the other ones.
Have you seen this movie? Don't go watch it, please.
Yeah. If you've seen this, let us know below.
What did you think?
Do you agree, if you have seen this, what do you think about my interpretation of the plot and the ending? I know I know there are, like, other interpretations of the ending. Some of the other interpretations that we listened to people having on it are incredibly different than what I thought. Yeah.
Do you enjoy watching movies that we have very differing opinions about?
Yeah, what is that like for you?
Do you like watching us argue about movies?
Everybody loves watching us argue about movies. What are you talking about?
I mean, of course, that's why you're here, right?
I hope. But yeah, either way, I have been John Norgrove. This has been Wife. This has been Review Jive. We are talking about the house that Jack built. Well, I mean, I guess he did build that corpse house. I was going to say, he didn't build much of a house.
He did
in this movie.
Finally build a house, yes.
Yeah. But, I actually don't even think that house was real, by the way.
I think it was
like the real
CGI.
house. No. I mean, like, the real house that he was building. I'm still, like, 50-50 that he was actually building a house. That might also be part of the crazy in his mind. I mean, really, now that we're done recording this, I'm gonna, like, erase this movie from my memory in, like, a day. Because I don't remember shit that, like, I don't care. Like,
it's not worth giving.
It's not worth giving a shit about.
For.
Yeah, no.
Unlike the Jurassic Park theme song. That lives rent-free in my head.
Yeah, it's alright. It's no Star Trek The Next Generation opening credit song. Yeah, that's a reference inside of a reference. Wrapped in a reference, guys. But either way, don't forget to like this video, comment below, share, subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Ring the bell. Hit us up on Patreon, support us there so we can watch more movies and give you guys our opinions on them. And check out our podcast, the Horn and Cauldron podcast. It's available on everywhere where podcasts are. And if you can't find it, hit me up on social media and I will direct you to where it is. Because it's probably there, or I don't know about that particular space, and then I'm going to put it there.
That's right.
That's how that works. But
Ask
yeah,
and you shall receive.
that's I guess that's how that works. But either way,
We'll catch you next time.
we'll catch you guys next time. Yeah, don't build houses out of corpses.